All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 68. We are almost there.
Bittenfeld is about to have his moment in the sun.
Yes. You know what?
Yes.
That would be rather fitting if Bittenfeld's big moment happened in episode 69. Because, you know, like it's a rare treasure that you get to actually have a show that goes on long enough to have an episode 69 so that we can all be, idiot children. But yeah, the situation is moving along.
Yeah, and while Mittermeier and Bittenfeld are well on their way, and there's nothing really anyone can do to stop them, this has been a while coming. It's just a question of Reinhardt's position in this when it's over.
How's it going to shake down?
Yeah,
because the whole idea of the people being sent back to Reinhardt, it's like, okay, yes, I get why, but at the same time, there have been people who have tried to kill Reinhardt in the past, and he doesn't have too much care for his own safety and security, so...
Well, he could always have more.
Yeah.
With everyone going to be reacting to this dramatic event that takes place here, although it's not like the Alliance is going to be able to offer up that much resistance.
Nope. Bucock's going to do his best.
What part will Bucock play in this, then?
I'm sure he'll make things interesting for Bittenfeld. I am very excited to see Bittenfeld against Bucock.
Trying to bite off a piece of the big cock, yeah. He ain't got a shot. He ain't got a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also had that whole bit with Mariendorf.
We did.
Reconsidering her situation with Reinhard.
Yeah.
How professional is this? Is this business or pleasure?
And she's coming with him here, so this is
true.
This is a big deal.
That's true.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Okay. Rubinsky is back.
He is back.
We have the plan from Bucock and Wu Cheng about what the Alliance will do.
Which is...
They're going to send almost 6,000 ships, basically everything that they can spare, to Yang, along with supplies and resources and their military personnel to basically say, hey, win the long game. Don't worry about us. And if anything... They gave him the technical promotion, and yes, as a joke, in that it's a contract of, yes,
sure,
because we're gonna pay you totally. Like we're already just giving you the ships. This is just the, sign the dotted line to make it official. But I was thinking he was doing this in the hopeful instance where someone would at some point question the legitimacy of how he is the supreme military commander of all. Of the Alliance military
something like
forces.
that.
But no, it was just a thing of where, we've always tried to bind you with contracts and, now you're obligated to do this.
This is sort of the final joke of we're going to do it in an official manner.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though you have no reason to help us anymore. We're going to be gone as an entity.
And I would have loved to have gotten something of exactly how much of their forces it was, whether it was 50% or 90% or whatever.
I'll bet you it's close to 90%.
That's what I'm figuring too, right? And then any remainder ships that they have are going to be things just to
give the appearance,
and basically just do weird things to slow them down and make it so that it's like, okay, there are still ships out there, so we can't just completely run through everything.
Yeah, it's basically the, hey, let's make it take a month for the Alliance to be fully subjugated instead of a week. Where it's that little bit of extra time just gives enough bit for the ships to get fueled, manned, set out, and actually find Yang.
Right.
Because since they all assume, well, he's going to El Facil, right? Since that was that whole thing where they showed the citizens being like, Yang obviously went to El Facil, that's where he is.
Yeah, right.
The rumor turns out to be just right. But that means that the Empire can find that out really quickly, too.
Oh, yeah. Imagine if, it's kind of silly.
Spies in the Alliance,
Right. And Bittenfeld is definitely going to Heinesen and everything. They have their orders and they're going to do what they do. But that would be kind of funny if they're like, oh, no, we're subjugating the Alliance government, but really our main competitor in this would be Yang. So, you know what? We're actually just going to fight Yang, not the Alliance.
Wouldn't that be funny, though, if Mittermeier and Bittenfeld went to Heinessen, and Reinhardt turned the whole fleet, the bigger one, like the bigger group of fleets, basically.
Go to El Facil.
Go to El Facil.
And then we could get something where...
It's like a standoff, where they take El Facil, like, immediately.
Right, and Yang has already fled to Iserlohn.
In Iserlohn, and he's like, don't come closer.
We've got the cannon.
Thor's hammer, you know.
Yep. I would absolutely love that, because I want...
They're sending transmissions back and forth to each other.
I want to see the point where the Empire is in Fezzan, and then it's got the wings over both sides of the galaxy, and there's just Iserlohn right over there, and Yang in there. Like, it'll feel very nostalgic, right? Because of how much time Yang spent on Iserlohn and things like that. And then it's just, all right, what happens? How long can they hold out? You know,
it's the Roman Empire problem where the Empire spreads too thin. And corruption and the problems from within tear it apart. And then slowly from the outside, it all creeps back in.
And I do really like the stuff that they're getting to in Fezzan with the discontent, but then also the people being like, actually, no, this is opportunity.
Yeah.
Everything's been equalized. This is ground zero. We're Fezzanese. We can, like,
we can make something of this.
Right. This is a dream come true for some of us, you know. So
yeah. Now, what's important here is that all the big players are spread out everywhere.
Yes.
And in some ways, it's that whole picture in the movie from the beginning with the circle of the galaxy just swirling around.
Round and round.
Yep, round and round. But with Rubinsky back in making a play, having it be something where he's got a disgruntled Alliance diplomat who apparently is a media specialist, that was the one thing, weirdly enough, that the Alliance was very good at. In fact, probably the best in the galaxy.
Yeah, better than the Empire.
Was propaganda regarding the fact that they were still a democratic, republic or what have you. Where it's like, they're totally, everything is just fine.
Right, because when it's autocratic, you don't need to worry about what the people think. Not as much, not in the same way.
They literally had a private military force going around snuffing out people who were
dissidents.
Who were just giving signs of anti-government,
and yet, by the way, they still had a good enough grip on the news that the news didn't, because the problem with something like that is that it'll get torn to shreds in the public eye, right? Because information travels, right? People find out about that stuff,
very quickly.
But the fact that the Alliance was able to do that and keep it fairly under wraps, like minimize it and make it seem like people don't. It's not a present danger,
Oh boy. So I like the idea that Rubinsky makes this move now while everyone is elsewhere.
Yep.
And yet Fezzan might become the seat of power. They mentioned a couple little world-building things, like the idea that Odin is still the biggest...
place of commerce.
Place of commerce, yeah. But that's something that could change really quick.
Right, and the roots of it are being set down in Fezzan.
Yeah. Exactly.
So follow the money, kids.
Especially if Fezzan becomes the new staging point for reinforcements to aid Reinhardt if their whole deal into Alliance space takes longer than he would have liked.
Yeah.
Because if Yang ends up not just hiding in Iserlohn, but using Iserlohn as the fallback point, and they make sorties out into Alliance space, and they harry, the Imperial fleets and stuff from Iserlohn, as long as they can just retreat back, they can do that with impunity.
So crazy thought that I just had.
Yeah.
And it's not fully formed, so I'm gonna try and pull at the string for a bit. Odin and Heinessen, those are relics of a bygone age. Right? There's all the infrastructure that's been set up around them, which is why they're still important now, but there's nothing that's keeping them important other than just there's enough momentum. The snowball's been rolling down the hill enough that it's still big, even though nothing's pushing it anymore. But Fezzan seems like the actual natural new place to lead the galaxy.
Well,
not just
where he literally moved the capital to.
Well, but the reasoning for it was for the most part a military one, so that way the choke point that could potentially keep them from getting to Alliance space would be held securely, right? And then you make sure that that channel stays open, and then from there Reinhardt can get to both sides, right?
But that's literally the only thing that the show's ever gone into other than the geographic location itself.
Right. But
what's your point?
But the other thing is that Fezzan is a commercial place, right? It's a commercial.
It's still smaller than Odin.
Right. But I could see that changing.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because
that's what that's what I was saying. Yeah.
But I feel like there's something poetic about the fact that the previous places that were the even with the whole thing of Yang saying to the people on the planet, I forget the name, Alpha Seal, that this isn't the alliance legitimate government kind of a thing. Do something different, right? We're starting from zero, from the ground up. Like that feels like something where if we were to have the truly best case scenario in the case of the Empire as well, with the Lowengram dynasty and everything, having it start on Fejan, right, where it's a place that isn't tied to the Empire or the Alliance directly one way or the other. It's much more neutral, just merchant area, right?
Okay.
Then maybe if the long game for the show is that they reach some kind of new coexistence, right? And that's what Julian represents, the best of both worlds and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I could see Fejan being the foundation work and the stuff that's happening there already, even if the Lowengram dynasty doesn't survive, for that happening in the end game.
Yeah, I'm with you, although I feel like the best way to have some kind of equilibrium is to give Yang's group some measure of independence.
Sure. And then maybe that's what Iserlon could be on the other side, you know? I mean, it's a military base, but...
Well, yeah, in a lot of ways, Iserlon can't survive this show. Like there will be war as long as Yang is holed up in Iserlon.
Right.
Basically.
At some point, theoretically, if Reinhard really has control over the galaxy, he doesn't need Iserlon. If he's got Fejan, right, then it's actually in his best interest to make sure that there is no potential barrier for the choke points on both sides of the galaxy.
Okay.
Just destroy it, right? And that could be a crazy symbol if you think about it of no, the galaxy is unified. There is no need for an Iserlon there.
Yeah, except Yang's totally going to take Iserlon.
Oh yeah, right. I'm saying if Reinhard ever takes Iserlon back after Yang takes it,
gotcha.
Like that, and who knows what kind of world we'll be in then. Reinhard might not even be alive.
Well, that's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Is that if you had to put a bet on whether Reinhard or Yang was going to live the longest in the show,
I think Yang.
Who'd you bet? Yeah, I would bet Yang. I would bet Yang 9 times out of 10.
Which is weird because I see as Reinhard and Yang both being gone and then Julian being the one that outlasts them.
Exactly, yeah.
But if Yang lasts longer than Reinhard, who is the true competition for Yang? Is it Ruhenthal and Mittermeier?
No. It has nothing to do with competition. It's the idea that Reinhard had no equal ever. Yang was not like Reinhard's equal by any stretch of it. Yang was a really good tactician and a student of history. But Reinhardt was something...
Yeah, he was something else.
He was something else.
He was the leader. Yeah.
He wanted power. Mm-hmm. He changed everything. And in a lot of ways, he is that Alexander the Great kind of character who's going to leave his legacy everywhere.
Yep.
And yet, in a lot of ways,
the three fleet admirals don't tear each other to pieces. Yeah.
Right. Except what's probably going to happen is that people remember more Reinhard the Conqueror than Reinhard the one that brought about a better form of government than what the Empire was previously.
Right, because who knows if the better things that he establishes, how long they'll last.
Yeah, exactly.
If it goes to the point where then it's Oberstein, Mittermeier, and Ruhenthal all...
forming some kind of military council.
Triumvirate.
Triumvirate. I could totally see that happening for a brief period of time.
And I do like the poetry of the idea of straight up just making Reinhard Alexander the Great with the 3 leaders underneath him that would take over when he's gone.
But then everything splits up.
Yeah. And when I say competition for Yang, I don't mean in some sort of anime rivalry kind of a thing.
No.
Even though we do have that, but the conflict for the story, because I would basically see it being them 3 and then maybe Rubinsky. Right, as the
Rubinsky, I would say is being the best threat for Yang.
Yeah, he gives me major elusive man vibes basically, and
cool,
and he could be long game or end game conflict if left to do his thing, which he has been, right?
The selfish form of humanity.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then that could be where things go, and then Yang deals with them however that happens, and then maybe at the end, then Julian meets with Oberstein or something like that, or or Mittermeier, and they talk about stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I just would love to see the moment where the story, like you're saying, kind of comes full circle, where we've now shifted everything 180 degrees at some point. But I would like to see everything revert back all the way.
And I think that's kind of what it is of Yang going back to Iserlon.
Like, right. But I would say that this is the 180-degree point, not the 360-degree point.
Oh, okay.
Where it's instead of having it be just we've rotated everything like that, it's we go all the way around.
Sure.
And then it's, okay.
Full Ouroboros before it is stopped.
Right. Yeah. The remnants of the the changes that Reinhard made to the Empire goes back to Odin, and the new Fejon, takes place in Fejon. The new Elphasil alliance goes to, Heinesen. And then it's this thing of where, we hope for peace.
Right.
And we'll start this new era of peace. But, just remember, in every day, in every age,
the deeds of men remain the same. And that's the thing I'm really curious about with this show is Julian I see as being as far as an individual perspective, he's kind of an endpoint, right? Because he is that new generation, right? But with regards to humanity and galactic society as a whole, how do you do that? Because since the
old order
the
has
deeds,
to die.
Well, the old order has to die, but since the deeds of man remain the same, will the end of it be that we've finally figured it out, or that we've figured it out for a spell and this will probably repeat in another few hundred years?
Yeah, we have no way of knowing what can happen in the future, but I think for the immediate bit, I think you're right. I think that's what'll happen.
Like that's the general sense that I've gotten is that they will never be foolish enough to say that we've truly figured it out, but that we've reached something that's iteratively that one step better, right? And then
history will look back on the things that made it to this point and go, not all of it was needed or necessary, but it did lead us to this point.
Right. And
if these things didn't happen in this specific way, we would be at a different present.
Right. And there will probably be something in the future where the ideals are strayed from and things like that. Sure. And there's regression and
But that's where you can just get at the themes of the story. But what they're getting at here is more that Reinhard is going to have not a Julius Caesar moment, but have some kind of a moment where his foundation he's building upon is weakening. And at the very least, he's going to need all of his subordinates around him to be fiercely loyal, so that they have to, if they at the very least have to just come back to Fejon and fix things, that it's not a thing of where they all immediately start to doubt Reinhard and all these issues pop up and stuff.
Like if the three fleet admirals do end up splitting things up after Reinhard dies or whatever, if Fejon is still like the leader of things and then Iserlon is occupied, that could get really crazy because then one of them could keep the split going and then there's the empire that's over the old empire that's over there and then the old empire that's over there, on that side.
Yeah, who knows? They seem to be setting up a lot this episode. It was a lot of new kind of dynamics and things that were getting figured out. They introduced us to High Admiral Ernst von Eisenach. In our notes here, the snapping
snap fella.
Yeah, they call him the Silent Admiral, but I'm just going to call him the Snapping Admiral. We had a really sweet moment though with Wu Chang and Bangkok, and seeing that they were basically trying to save their families, but offering up themselves to the Empire.
Yep.
And those two are legends. They're the best the Alliance, I would say, produced other than outside of Yang's crew.
Pretty much.
Like Wu Chang came in out of nowhere, chewing sandwiches and having a good time, just spitting the truth,
Oh,
but
and
Bangkok
then
is the old bear that survived all that.
And Sidolet. Like Sidolet, thankfully, has been able to retire and everything. So it's like, all right, that's wonderful. But yeah, those three, I feel like, were just
But I wanted to bring up the kind of final plot setup thing that's kind of immediately done there, is that why they're going to Iserlon is not just the tactical sense,
but it's we
need to be legitimate, or we need to make ourselves look really sexy,
right? So that way a lot of people join us. Like it's which is great, because then the fact that Yang ends up getting frustrated with all the things that the people on Alpha Shield are doing, it's like, okay,
but isn't that what you're doing?
That's what you're doing too. Like
you're just doing it in a
different way,
cringe way.
Yeah, right. It's yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just simplifying it too much. But if he actually does take Iserlon, which I think he will,
I would
like to see how he set it up so that he would be able to
That's
easily
true.
take Isolon back.
Because having it be something that it's like, oh, there's something here that they'll use later. I want to see how that's something that no one would have found, and how it will be that
Easy.
much an ace of spade effective.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
just sure thing. We just get some people come in and it's ours.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be really cool. But having Yang also be in a tactically safe environment, will he get lazy here? Or will he then be like, ooh, now people are joining me, but now they're putting all these pressure things on me to do X, Y, Z. And Wu Chang was saying his ideals might be the end of him.
Yep.
And what I could see happening here is either one of two ways he could fail, basically, is that he gets lazy in Iserlon and caves to the pressure by not doing anything.
Once you take Iserlon, what do you do? Like,
it's not an
you
easy...
kind of just want to stay there.
There's no easy path in front of you.
Right.
Number two, he ends up basically splitting himself off from Iserlon and goes out too far and just can't return.
Oh, okay.
And it's just an unfortunate mess up in, people asking him to do so much out there, and he doesn't know, ultimately what should be, what's the best call.
Right.
And it comes to biting him in the ass later.
Especially since with this new alliance with Alpha Seal, it helps him in certain ways, but it's a penalty in others.
Yeah.
Right. And I could definitely see it being something later where it's like, hold on, did I just sign on?
Anchor myself to a sinking ship.
Yeah, did I sign myself on with a new master basically that's no better than the previous one?
We'll see.
Like, maybe I need to do this an autocratic way. Like,
Well, yeah, in a lot of ways, thankfully, the Alpha Seal group doesn't necessarily have any strong military power.
Yes.
Like in terms of space ship,
right?
Like fleets and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll see for now. But really cool stuff that they're building up with the idea of Rubinsky also being a new threat. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if ain't that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.